So I first started playing for England when I was about 13, 14. So I actually went through the entire football pyramid. I played alongside the likes of Leah Williamson, Kira Walsh, Chloe Kelly. The research we do in the field can look very different, but can also have a huge impact, and does have a huge impact on the decisions that we make individually, as clubs, organisations, as senior stakeholders that sort of transform the sports industry and make it a better place for everyone.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of UCFB in the Hot Seat. I'm here with Dr. Ella Tagliavini, who is a lecturer in research methods. First of all, how are you doing?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How about you just introduce yourself a little bit? What do you do? What is your expertise in this industry?
Yep, so obviously, as you said, my title is lecturer in research methods. So I'm one of the module leaders for the very large module of research methods that students take in their second year at level 5. Been doing that here for the last 2 years now. So it's been really nice experience to sort of see students get involved in the power of research and how that can translate into the sports industry. Background, I currently also, alongside my role here, play for Fulham Football Club, the women's first team. I'm a central defender there. So been at Fulham since I was a little girl, but for the last 3 years, I've really got back into playing. And then in terms of my other roles, so I currently am a sports psychologist in training with the Chartered Association of Sport and Exercise Sciences, CASES for short. And so I work with different athletes, stakeholders and governing bodies to deliver sports psychology individual sessions, webinars, workshops, etc. Alongside those 2 roles as well.
Amazing. So you mentioned getting back into football. What has that been like?
Really good. I wasn't expecting it, being totally honest. So unfortunately, I suffered 2 dreaded ACL injuries.
Oh, no, I'm so sorry to hear that. But like ACLs, that out of all the injuries, that it's rough, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And as soon as you hear ACL rupture, your mind just goes blank and your heart just sinks, your stomach drops. It's something that you really don't want to hear, particularly as a female footballer as well. I know that obviously we're seeing a trend in the rise of ACL injuries in women's football in particular. So yes, tore my first one back in 2020, just after the first lockdown, recovered, and then 3 months after returning, I tore the other one. So that was in 2021. So yeah, I had 2 back-to-back ACL injuries. So I wasn't really expecting to return to football, being totally honest. Thought my football career was done. And then got to the end of my PhD and had a conversation with my now current manager at Fulham, and we thought we'd give it another go, and it seems to be the best decision I've made. We won the league last year, going unbeaten, won 20 out of the 22 games and drew the other 2. And so far we are 5 games in and won all 5 in our current league, which we got promoted into last year as well. So beating Norwich City in the process, who were also title contenders. So yeah, doing very well.
That is amazing. How has that been at Fulham? I just want to ask, because, you said you just won the league last season. How did that feel?
Oh, unbelievable. We were fortunate enough to win the league at Craven Cottage. So the club have really backed us over the last few years in particular, to make sure that we can try and push the women's team into the recognition, the league that we deserve to be playing at and competing in with other teams who are also obviously got a huge amount of backing. We're fortunate enough to be associated obviously with the men's team who have cemented their place in the Premier League, so that always helps. But yeah, to win the league at Craven Cottage, I scored the first goal as well, and the emotions just run through you. Anyone that knows women's football as well, and given how small the leagues are, you have to be almost perfect. So to win the league in the manner that we did was really, really exciting, and I'm just really glad we could sort of show what we're about, not just as players but also as a wider support staff and club, and show what this team and this club wants to do for women's football.
Well, that sounds like an unbelievable thing to be a part of. So congratulations, first of all. About UCFB, tell us about the courses that you oversee and the importance of the study that you do.
Yeah, so obviously I'm mainly responsible for research methods. That takes place in the second semester, so semester B. And I think the big thing with research, it gets sometimes a little bit of a bad rap, and maybe students aren't particularly always appreciative of the power of research and how that translates into the sports industry or the sports business industry. So I think one of the key messages that I always try and share or get across to students who take my module is to be open-minded and not see research as just, white coats, laboratory settings, very isolated away from, the general applied practice of sport, whatever that may look like. And to understand how the fact that, the research we do in the fields can look very different, but can also have a huge impact, and does have a huge impact on the decisions that we make individually as clubs, organisations, as senior stakeholders that sort of transform the sports industry and make it a better place for everyone. So I think that's a really important message for students going into my module in particular. And a lot of the skills that students are encouraged to learn and use in my module also translates into their other modules. So obviously, research methods sets up their professional project, which students have the opportunity to really do something they are interested in, and maybe use it as an opportunity to build relationships and network with other stakeholders and set themselves up post UCFB as well. So I think it's a really important module in that sense. I do jump on other modules as well. So I help a lot with football business at level 4, but I also, given my background in sports psychology as well, and support with some of the sports psychology modules, and help students understand the way, some of the concepts and processes that operate in sports psychology that can help performers and stakeholders maximize their potential there.
Yeah, most certainly. Research methods is a very important module. And as you said, lots of networking involved as well. So you'll be able to put yourselves in a great position if you want to be able to get a job come the end of your time here at UCFB. What is the most best experience that you've had in the sports industry so far?
Oh, I've had a few.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I've been fortunate in the sense that my PhD has given me the opportunity to meet a lot of people. I've been able to present at international conferences and network with a lot of people who are involved not just in academia but the sports industry. My PhD in particular was focused on working with the Lawn Tennis Association and the International Tennis Federation. And so I've produced some modules and written resources for stakeholders in tennis in particular to utilise as well. I recently had the opportunity, the second opportunity actually, to present for UK Coaching, where I've delivered on webinars and talent series for them to present to coaches around how they could maximise their relationships in sport in particular. But I think one of the biggest opportunities that sort of sport has given me was when I was slightly younger, actually, as I was mentored by the likes of David Beckham,
Wow.
to Chris Hoy, Dame Denise Lewis, Dame Jessica Ennis-Hill, Steve Redgrave, all of those people I was fortunate enough to be mentored by when I was younger. And I think they really had an impact on the way that I see the value of sport, not just as a performer. Again, I'm fortunate enough to be a player still, but also in terms of the way that sport can really create, a really positive foundation for you to grow as an individual in whatever way you decide to go in your life. So yeah, that was a big one.
Yeah, most certainly. I can imagine. I mean, you just mentioned those star-studded list of names. What was that like meeting all of those people? Like, was there any sort of like moment where you were just standing there and was like, oh my gosh, I'm in front of all of these people who have had incredible careers. What was that like?
Yeah, absolutely overwhelming.
Yeah.
I don't think you quite fully digest what you're seeing in the moment, because sometimes it's a little bit of a blur, particularly to see them so quickly in succession. I mean, you might meet one of those people in your lifetime, let alone, all of those people in the space of a year.
Yeah.
So it was really, really exciting, and I just really wanted to take the opportunity to sort of, ask them what their advice would be, and how to, for me in particular, because I was still studying, how to manage my studies as well as my sport and being an elite performer, because at the time I was playing for England as well. So yeah, it was a great opportunity, and one that I definitely remember fondly, for sure.
Yeah. You just mentioned playing for England as well.
Yeah.
Shall we talk about that?
Yeah.
What was that like?
Yeah, really, really good. I mean, so I first started playing for England when I was about 13, 14. So I actually went through the entire football pyramid. I started in school, went to a Sunday league team, made it into then what was called a centre of excellence, but now translates into a bit of a PGA. And then from there, went to Chelsea, but at the same time got recruited for England. And Yeah, I played alongside the likes of Leah Williamson, Kira Walsh, Chloe Kelly, who are all becoming household names.
Yeah, they've won a few international majors.
Absolutely, and they're not doing too badly, are they?
No, they're doing unbelievable. But yeah, that's just incredible. Like, what was that like again? So
Yeah.
being able to be in the England setup, playing alongside these players, and being able to hold your own. I mean, that is a massive credit to you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a proud moment and one that I definitely keep with me. I think it gives you a certain degree of confidence that you can manage, the pressure and the expectation of representing your country. I was fortunate enough to captain the under-15s as well, alongside Leah, and then also went to the European finals for the under-17s as well, where we finished fourth. And yeah, I think it really does set you up. Whenever I tell people now that I played for England, obviously it's a headline grabber. It gets people's attention. But I think if you really reflect on what England gives you, it gives you that ability to again stay organised, and manage your schoolwork as well and your coursework as well as your football. You also have to have a degree of concentration and ambition, and I think that that's something that really drives me, is that ambition, that drive to get to the very best, to get to the very top. So I think that always sticks with me in terms of anything I do now, whether that's in sport, academia, or in my personal life. It just gives me that drive and confidence to go and break boundaries and achieve bigger and better things, really.
Yeah, most certainly. I mean, having a life balance is very, very important and very crucial. We've spoken about so many sporting heroes. Who is your sporting hero and why?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So obviously David Beckham is one of those people that I think he's done so much for the world of sport. He's a big ambassador for football, but he was also a massive, massive, leader in the bid that we got for the Olympics and things like that. So I think the way that he's carried the nation, in the sports world, I think is a credit to him, and as someone that I look up to in terms of the way he's, not just stopped after playing. Like he's really wanted to continue to be a big figurehead in the world of sport and women's football, and celebrate the successes that we have as a nation and things like that. So I definitely look up to him in the way that he's managed to carry on his career post football, because we all know
Yeah.
football does not last forever. And when you're pushing the end of your 20s and early 30s, there's a finish line at sight. So, yeah, he's certainly someone. But I think from a playing standpoint, this might sound controversial, but just purely from a playing standpoint, John Terry is
Yeah.
someone that I really looked up to, because he just put his heart and soul on that pitch every time he played. I mean, he put his body on the line. I will forever remember that picture, where he's halfway across the floor trying to get his head in front of a shot that's showing what, like 100 kilometers per hour, whatever it might be. So I think he's someone I really looked up to. And so anytime I sort of step onto the pitch or anything like that, I always, one, see it as a privilege, but also make sure that I leave everything out there. Unfortunately, we didn't really have many female football players to look up to when I was younger in particular. So it's really nice to see. We mentioned some of the players that I played with, them sort of, being those role models for younger girls and boys coming through in football as well. But as well, if I think outside of sport, I mentioned Dame Jessica Ennis-Hill and Dame Denise Lewis and things like that. So I think that those people as well were, led the way for women's sport as well.
Yeah. No, so many of those people that you mentioned, absolute legends, I have to say. What is one piece of advice that you would give other people who are trying to get into the sports industry?
Don't stop. Do not stop. It is relentless, if I'm being totally honest with you. Even for me, with my background, experiences, qualifications, etc., you cannot rest. And I know that sounds like a big task ahead of you, particularly when you're just starting out. But I think it's exciting. See honestly, the world is your oyster. There's so many opportunities out there. But I think you just really got to be relentless and proactive in the way that you try and create opportunities. They will not be given to you, and you have to make sure that you're being creative in the way that you're looking for opportunities. We're fortunate enough, we have platforms like LinkedIn, X, obviously things like that, to be able to connect with people these days much easier. But alongside that, I think when you are approaching people and looking for opportunities, as I said, be creative. Don't just think about a couple, think about all the different ways in which you can get involved in sport, even if it's slightly off track to begin with and not necessarily what you had in mind at the beginning, because everything is a great experience. But I also think you need to have a bit of a idea on what you can give. You need to have a bit of a spiel or a bit of a narrative that you can present to people to convince them that you are someone they should take a chance on or give an opportunity to. It's all well and good approaching people and asking people for opportunities, but at the end of the day, what's going to make them want to give you that opportunity? So I think if you can have a bit of a narrative in your head and identify the skills and the strengths that you have, I think that's really, really important and will play into your hands when you go and network and speak to people.
Most certainly. Final question.
Mhm.
Going off of your success in the sports industry, what do you think is the main reason why you've been successful?
If I'm being totally honest, I think it's how hard I work. I work very smart. I do like to maximize my time and work efficiently. I don't believe in just working for the sake of it. There are moments to do that. As I said, during my PhD, I had to work from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., 7 days a week just to get that over the line, because it's quite a thankless task sometimes and quite isolating. So there are times for that. But I think generally it's that hard work and ambition to just continue to push yourself. I never rest on my laurels. And despite, being fortunate enough to compete at the very highest level, to be part of a club like Fulham, to teach here at UCFB, and to be, working as a sport and exercise psychologist in training, I'm always thinking about what's next. And I think in that sense, that's given me the opportunity to grow and really develop the skills that I want to use in the future and can really help me in the sports industry. So I definitely think hard work and relentlessness that I have has given me that opportunity to get success in the sports industry.
Well, Ella, thank you so much for coming on UCFB in the Hot Seat. Been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much.
You can find us on all of UCFB's social media platforms, and you can also watch this elsewhere too on the UCFB YouTube channel. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you for the next one on UCFB in the Hot Seat.
The University campus of Football Business offers an inspiring learning experience with unique university degrees focused on your chosen career in the football and sports industry. Come to UCFB and study an undergraduate or postgraduate degree in media and journalism, coaching and analysis, sports business and finance, plus much more at iconic sporting locations such as Wembley Stadium and Manchester. To kick off your career in sport and find out more about our courses, visit ucfb.ac.uk.